Hello everyone, my name is Sharad. In today's video, we will learn about what is Linux. So Linux is an operating system, and as we know that operating system is a software which helps to manage and use the hardware resources of computer, right? So Linux was created by Linus Benedict Torvalds, and he started this project as a hobby. So on 25th August 1991, the Linus Torvalds announced about this hobby project in Usenet news group and looking for feedback from users and developers. At that time, he was student of University of Helsinki. He is a Finnish guy. He is from Finland. He wrote the kernel for his new PC, which had Intel 80386 processor. The development of this kernel was done on Unix-like operating system by using GNU-C compiler. And Minix is also a mini kernel level operating system. Initially, the Linus himself referred the Linux as a kernel, and later on, many people contributed in this project. The kernel was incorporated with many softwares, and mostly were new softwares. There was some naming controversy also happened because it had a lots of GNU software used rather calling as a GNU Linux. Many people start calling it as Linux. So nowadays, many people call Linux as an operating system. But still, the Free Software Foundation uses the name New Linux to emphasize the importance of new software. So because they have used a lot of new software, so that's the reason they want to emphasize, and the Free Software Foundation is still using the new Linux. So if you really want to know more about this controversy or something, why they are using new Linux, you can uh, you know browse to this link which I have mentioned here, and I will also put in a description box. So after a few months, the Linux first version was released on 17 September 1991. Now in next slide, you can see this is the diagram of Linux operating system. So basically it has two parts. One is called kernel mode and second is called user mode. So in the kernel mode, we have a Linux kernel, and in user mode, we have a three component: user applications, system components, C standard library. So basically, all are the applications and the softwares and code, and which made this operating system. If you have some keen look, uh, you can see the most of the softwares they actually comes to the user mode area. So we can see in this diagram, and there is a hardware component at the bottom, and the kernel is actually communicating to the hardware. Now there is a mascot of the mascot of Linux actually. So Tux is the mascot of Linux, and basically what is Tux? The Tux is a penguin character and the official brand character of the Linux kernel. And the abbreviation of Tux is Torvald Unix. So we have some features of Linux, and the one is called multi-user. The multi-user in the sense that many users can work on Linux operating system, but having their own terminal or the login. We They also have a very great feature of multitasking and the portability. The portability in the sense that it can be installed and used in many types of hardware. So we have also seen that we can use it in a desktop, laptop, your mobile phones hardware, and there are some other networking devices there also. We can easily use the Linux, and it has a very important feature called security. So like for authorization, authentication, and encryption, these are the three levels basically in this secure, they have a very good security. So means when you see authentication, your login page, and when you put the credentials, that is authentication. Then there is authorization: read, write, execute. You can set the file permissions. and you can also encrypt your data. So this is a very great feature of the Linux security. And without installing the Linux, you can also try. So this feature comes under the live CD and the live USB. Then the sixth one is the GUI X Windows system. The GUI abbreviation is graphical user interface. So after installing the Linux, if you want to have the GUI, any graphical user interface, so you can install over it. So right now whatever we have in market, that like Ubuntu, Red Hat and other operating system, so they actually shipping by default with GUI. Earlier days it was not like that. It was just plain and simple, with the terminal based, and the people were installing on top of it those graphical user interface. Now the seventh is supports customized keyboard, and it means that it can support the various languages in the keyboard. Eighth is the application support. In application support means it supports the application because it maintains everything in their centralized repository, or you can say from the repository specifically built for the Linux operating system. And the ninth is the file system. It is the file system means to it has a hierarchical system which maintains all the files and folder. And the file system likes ext2, ext3, xfs. So we have various types of file systems available in Linux. Tenth point is very important: open source. So it is open source software. It is free to use. It has a new GPL license, so you can use under this license, and it is free to use. So Linux has various distributions, and I tried to list some of those. So one is called Red Hat Enterprise Linux. The abbreviation is also known as RHEL. And we have other distribution like Fedora, CentOS, Rocky Linux, Alma Linux, Oracle Linux, and ClearOS. And in Debian we have like Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Kali Linux, Arch Linux, and Gentoo, Manjaro, Elementary OS. We have like a Deepin, and so on. So Linux is one of the powerful operating system which is widely used across the globe, and nowadays if you really want to start your career in the DevOps or as a system admin, the Linux knowledge is mandatory nowadays. Earlier, when I started my career, it was not like that. It was very less engineers were available, and it was a very high demand, technology during those days. But now it is mandatory. It is mandatory to use the Linux. So you must know the Linux and keep practicing. It is one of the powerful operating system, and definitely it will give you a very good growth in your career. So if you like this video, hit like button, and if you want to follow us, click on the subscribe button, and if you want to share with your friends and family members, please share it. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.